Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that just 3 days could change your life? Not through luck, not through chance, but through the way you talk to yourself. The way you talk to yourself determines the way you see the world, the way you react to challenges, and ultimately the way your life unfolds. Every thought you think and every word you speak to yourself has power. Your inner dialogue is not just a reflection of your current reality, it is actively shaping your future. The words you repeat in your mind create the beliefs you hold about yourself, and those beliefs drive your actions, which then create your results. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, that you are incapable, or that success is out of reach, your subconscious mind accepts these statements as truth. It will filter reality in a way that reinforces those beliefs, making sure that your actions align with them. On the other hand, if you fill your mind with empowering and positive statements, you will start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. The human brain is incredibly adaptable, constantly forming new neural pathways based on repeated thoughts and behaviors. When you engage in negative self-talk, you strengthen pathways of doubt, fear, and limitation. Over time, these become the default setting of your mind, making it harder to break free from cycles of low self-esteem and procrastination. But the opposite is also true. When you consistently speak to yourself with encouragement, belief, and resilience, you rewire your brain for confidence, strength, and success. The key is to be intentional with your words and recognize that every time you think or say something, you are reinforcing a certain version of yourself. You must ask yourself, are your words shaping you into the person you want to become? Consider the way highly successful and confident people talk to themselves. They do not fill their minds with self-doubt and negativity. Instead, they affirm their abilities, focus on solutions rather than problems, and see challenges as opportunities to grow. They understand that their words create their mindset, and their mindset determines their outcomes. If you look at world-class athletes, entrepreneurs, and leaders, they all have one thing in common. They master their inner dialogue. They tell themselves that they are capable, that they can handle any challenge, and that setbacks are just part of the journey. This is not arrogance. It is programming the mind for success. Many people mistakenly believe that positive self-talk is about lying to themselves or pretending that everything is perfect. But that is not the case. Speaking to yourself positively does not mean ignoring your struggles or denying reality. It means choosing a perspective that empowers you instead of one that weakens you. Instead of saying, "I'll never be able to do this," you say, "I may not know how to do this yet, but I am capable of learning and figuring it out." Instead of saying, "I always fail," you say, "Every setback is teaching me something valuable, and I am growing stronger every day." This shift in language creates a shift in mindset. And over time, this shift in mindset changes your actions and results. Most people speak to themselves in a way they would never speak to a close friend. They are harsh, critical, and unforgiving towards themselves. But imagine if you treated yourself with the same kindness, encouragement, and support that you give to someone you care about. What if, for just a few days, you decided to be your own greatest source of motivation instead of your own biggest critic? The results would be transformative. When you change the way you talk to yourself, you build resilience. You stop being your own obstacle and start becoming your own ally. You begin to trust yourself more, take bolder actions, and move forward with confidence instead of hesitation. Every successful transformation in life begins with a shift in thinking, and every shift in thinking begins with a shift in language. The words you repeat in your mind daily are not just passive thoughts. They are instructions to your subconscious. Your brain is always listening, always adapting, and always working to align your external reality with your internal dialogue. This is why two people can go through the exact same situation but experience it completely differently. One person sees failure as proof that they are not good enough, while the other sees it as an opportunity to improve and come back stronger. The only difference between these two individuals is the way they talk to themselves. If you want to see different results in your life, you must start by changing the way you speak to yourself. Instead of reinforcing doubt and fear, reinforce belief and determination. Instead of letting negative thoughts go unchecked, challenge them and replace them with empowering ones. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to how you talk to yourself throughout the day. The second step is intention. Make a conscious decision to shift your inner dialogue in a way that serves you rather than limits you. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes, and soon the words you say to yourself will reflect the person you are becoming. The way you speak to yourself shapes your self-perception, influences your decisions, and determines the kind of life you live. Many people unknowingly trap themselves in cycles of negativity because of the words they repeat in their minds daily. Negative self-talk is one of the most destructive habits a person can develop, yet it often goes unnoticed. It begins subtly in small moments of doubt, frustration, or comparison, but over time, it becomes the dominant voice inside the mind. Without realizing it, people program themselves for failure, self-doubt, and mediocrity simply by the way they speak to themselves. Negative self-talk comes in different forms. Some people constantly tell themselves that they are not good enough, that they always mess things up, or that success is out of reach. Others focus on blaming themselves for every mistake, replaying past failures, and convincing themselves that they will never change. Some compare themselves to others and believe they are always falling short, creating feelings of inadequacy and low self-worth. The problem is that the mind believes what it hears repeatedly. If a person tells themselves they are a failure every day, their subconscious mind accepts that as truth and starts looking for evidence to confirm it. They hesitate to take risks, avoid challenges, and sabotage their own progress without even realizing. Breaking free from negative self-talk starts with awareness. Most people have no idea how often they speak to themselves in a negative way because it has become second nature. Paying attention to inner dialogue is the first step toward changing it. Every time a limiting belief or self-criticism arises, it must be challenged. Instead of accepting it as fact, it is important to ask whether it is true or whether it is simply a conditioned thought based on past fears and insecurities. Many of the negative things people say to themselves are not even their own thoughts. They are beliefs they have absorbed from society, negative experiences, or other people's opinions. Recognizing this is the key to taking back control. Once awareness is established, the next step is to actively eliminate negative self-talk. This does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist or ignoring personal flaws. It means refusing to speak in a way that reinforces limitations and self-doubt. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," the mind must be trained to say, "I am learning how to do this." Instead of saying, "I always fail," the shift must be toward, "Every failure teaches me something valuable." Words have power, and the way a person frames their experiences determines how they react to them. When self-talk is negative, challenges seem impossible, mistakes feel like proof of failure, and progress feels slow. When self-talk is positive and constructive, challenges become growth opportunities, mistakes turn into lessons, and progress is acknowledged and appreciated. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to eliminate negative self-talk is because it feels comfortable. The mind likes familiarity, even when it is harmful. If someone has spent years telling themselves they are not good enough, changing that narrative feels unnatural at first. This is why consistency is essential. The more a person consciously replaces negative thoughts with empowering ones, the easier it becomes. Over time, the brain forms new neural pathways, and positive self-talk becomes the new default. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing a perspective that builds confidence instead of destroying it. Another important factor in eliminating negative self-talk is the environment. The people a person surrounds themselves with, the content they consume, and the conversations they engage in all contribute to their inner dialogue. Spending time with negative, critical, and toxic individuals makes it harder to break free from negative thinking. On the other hand, being around positive, supportive, and growth-oriented people reinforces the habit of constructive self-talk. It is important to audit influences and make sure they align with the mindset that is being cultivated. The words spoken internally are the foundation of self-position and personal growth. Eliminating negative self-talk is not just about feeling better in the moment. It is about creating long-term success, confidence, and resilience. When a person stops speaking negatively about themselves, they start making decisions from a place of self-belief rather than fear. They take more risks, push through challenges, and build a mindset that attracts success. It all starts with choosing to speak differently, think differently, and ultimately live differently. The way a person speaks to themselves determines the way they see the world, their confidence, and their ability to handle challenges. Words are not just sounds or thoughts. They shape beliefs, influence emotions, and drive actions. Speaking positivity into life is not about wishful thinking or ignoring reality, but about setting the right foundation for success, resilience, and inner peace. Most people unknowingly program themselves for failure by filling their minds with self-doubt and negativity. They say things like, "I'm not good enough," "I always mess things up," or "nothing ever works out for me." These words, repeated over time, become deep-seated beliefs that shape their reality. The mind believes what it hears most often, and when it is fed negativity, it starts looking for evidence to support those beliefs. Speaking positivity into life begins with choosing words that align with strength, capability, and growth. Instead of saying, "I can't," the focus shifts to, "I am capable." Instead of saying, "I always fail," the mindset changes to, "I learn from every experience and improve." This does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending challenges do not exist. It means approaching them with a mindset that looks for solutions rather than limitations. When the mind is trained to see opportunities instead of obstacles, it becomes more resilient and adaptable. Challenges become temporary, setbacks become lessons, and self-belief grows stronger. Words hold the power to change emotions instantly. When a person wakes up and says, "Today's going to be a stressful day," their mind prepares for stress. Every small inconvenience feels heavier because the brain is wired to look for stress. On the other hand, if they wake up and say, "I will handle everything with calm and confidence," their brain starts searching for ways to make that statement true. The same situation can feel completely different depending on the words used to frame it. Positive self-talk is not about denying difficulties, but about setting the right mindset to overcome them. Another important aspect of speaking positivity into life is self-identity. The words "I am" are some of the most powerful words a person can use. Whatever follows them becomes part of self-perception. Saying "I am strong" reinforces inner strength. Saying "I am capable" builds confidence. But when people say "I am a failure" or "I am unlucky," they trap themselves in a mindset that limits their potential. It is crucial to be intentional with the words used to describe oneself because they shape actions and beliefs. And replacing limiting identities with empowering ones leads to transformation. Instead of saying, "I am always anxious," Shifting to, I am learning to manage my emotions with strength, opens the door for growth. Repetition plays a key role in rewiring the mind for positivity. Just as negative self-talk becomes a habit, positive self-talk must be practiced consistently. The brain learns through repetition, and the more a person speaks words of strength, confidence, and resilience, the more natural it becomes. This is why affirmations are so powerful. Saying, I am strong, I am focused, I am capable, every day reinforces those qualities, making them feel more real over time. It is not about simply saying words without meaning, but about truly believing in them and acting in alignment with them. Speaking positivity into life also requires filtering out negativity from external influences. The people a person surrounds themselves with, the content they consume, and the conversations they engage in all impact their inner dialogue. If they are constantly exposed to negativity, criticism, and doubt, it becomes harder to maintain a positive mindset. Protecting mental space by choosing uplifting influences strengthens the habit of positive self-talk. Surrounding oneself with people who encourage growth and progress makes it easier to stay committed to a positive mindset. Training the mind to focus on strengths, possibilities, and solutions rather than doubts and limitations leads to a shift in energy, confidence, and actions. Life responds to the words spoken internally. Choosing to speak with belief, resilience, and optimism creates a foundation for long-term success and happiness. It is not about ignoring challenges, but about approaching them with a mindset that fosters growth rather than fear. By speaking positivity into life consistently, a person transforms not only their thoughts, but also their reality. The words spoken internally shape the way situations are handled, the level of confidence maintained, and the overall direction of life. Many people underestimate the power of self-talk, believing that their thoughts are just private conversations with no real impact. However, the way the mind is conditioned determines how life unfolds. Shifting inner dialogue towards strength, confidence, and resilience changes not only emotions, but also decisions, actions, and outcomes. Speaking to oneself with encouragement instead of criticism builds a mental environment where success becomes natural. Embracing empowering language creates a mindset that seeks growth rather than focusing on limitations. When challenges arise, a person conditioned to use negative self-talk will immediately feel overwhelmed, assume the worst, or hesitate to take action. Their mind is wired to see obstacles as confirmations of failure rather than opportunities for growth. In contrast, someone who practices empowering self-talk will approach difficulties with a mindset of problem-solving and perseverance. They remind themselves that they are capable, resourceful, and strong. This shift in thinking leads to a different set of actions and ultimately a different outcome. The person who believes in their ability to overcome obstacles will find solutions, while the one who doubts themselves will often give up too soon. Training the mind to use empowering language requires consistency. Negative self-talk often becomes a default setting due to past experiences, societal conditioning, or external criticism. It takes effort to break free from old thought patterns, but it is entirely possible. The first step is awareness, recognizing when thoughts become self-defeating. Many people are so used to speaking to themselves harshly that they do not even notice it happening. Paying attention to internal dialogue is crucial. Once negative self-talk is identified, the next step is actively replacing it with empowering alternatives. Instead of saying, I am not good at this, shifting to, I am learning and improving every day reinforces growth rather than failure. Instead of thinking, I will probably fail, changing it to, I will give my best effort and learn from the experience, shifts the focus to progress rather than fear. The words chosen influence emotions instantly. Speaking in a way that builds confidence and inner strength transforms the way situations are handled. When a person tells themselves, I am strong, I can handle this, their body responds with a sense of determination. Their posture changes, their energy shifts, and their ability to stay focused improves. On the other hand, when they say, this is too hard, I don't think I can do it, their body reacts with stress and hesitation. The way words are used influences not just thoughts, but also the nervous system, emotions, and actions. Another key to using empowering self-talk is being mindful of external influences. The environment plays a significant role in shaping internal dialogue. Spending time around negative people, consuming content filled with fear and doubt, or constantly engaging in critical conversations reinforces a mindset of limitation. On the other hand, surrounding oneself with positive, growth-oriented individuals and consuming content that uplifts and inspires makes it easier to maintain empowering self-talk. Choosing to be intentional about influences strengthens the ability to maintain a resilient mindset. Empowering self-talk also involves practicing self-compassion. Many people hold themselves to unrealistic standards, expecting perfection and criticizing themselves harshly when they fall short. This creates a cycle of frustration and self-doubt. Speaking to oneself with the same kindness and encouragement given to a close friend fosters confidence and resilience. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, acknowledging them as part of the learning process helps shift the focus toward improvement. When setbacks happen, saying, I am learning and I will come back stronger, keeps motivation alive rather than allowing discouragement to take over. Building the habit of speaking to oneself with confidence, strength, and self-belief changes everything. It creates a foundation for success, inner peace, and resilience in the face of challenges. Every time empowering language is used, the brain reinforces a mindset of possibility rather than limitation. This shift in thinking leads to a transformation in behavior, decision-making, and ultimately life outcomes. And training the mind to focus on strength instead of weakness, solutions instead of problems, and growth instead of fear is one of the most powerful changes a person can make. The way the mind is trained to think and respond to challenges determines the level of success and fulfillment experienced in life. Speaking to oneself in a way that reinforces resilience, strength, and confidence has the power to transform obstacles into opportunities. When difficult situations arise, the internal dialogue should be one of encouragement rather than discouragement. Many people allow negative self-talk to take over in moments of difficulty, making challenges feel heavier and setbacks seem permanent. However, shifting to a mindset that embraces difficulties as necessary stepping stones to growth creates an entirely different experience. Every great achievement comes with obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up lies in the way they handle those moments internally. Some people allow failure to define them, convincing themselves that they are not capable, not smart enough, or not lucky enough. Others choose to see failure as part of the journey, reminding themselves that every setback is temporary and that persistence leads to progress. The way a person talks to themselves in moments of struggle determines whether they rise above or remain stuck. Telling oneself, I have what it takes, even when things are difficult, reinforces the mindset needed to push forward. Building resilience starts with understanding that difficulties are not a sign to quit, but an opportunity to grow stronger. The mind naturally resists discomfort and seeks the easiest path, but the easiest path rarely leads to meaningful success. Speaking with resilience means replacing thoughts of self-doubt with words that reinforce determination. Instead of saying, "This is too hard," shifting to, "I will figure this out," creates a sense of control over the situation. Instead of thinking, "I don't know what to do," telling oneself, "I will find a way," keeps the mind open to solutions rather than shutting down in frustration. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice mental strength, and the words spoken in those moments determine how that strength is developed. Training the mind to respond with resilience requires intentionality. The brain is wired to focus on problems, and it takes effort to shift towards solutions. This is why it is essential to practice positive self-talk daily, not just in difficult moments. The more a person reinforces words of strength, the more natural it becomes to rely on them when challenges arise. Saying phrases like, "I am strong," "I am capable," and "I can handle this" consistently rewires the brain to adopt those beliefs as truth. Over time, the habit of responding with resilience becomes automatic, and instead of feeling defeated by difficulties, the mind begins searching for ways to overcome them. Difficult moments test patience, endurance, and mental toughness. Many people give up, not because they lack potential, but because they allow their own doubts to overpower their belief in themselves. Speaking with resilience means reminding oneself that struggles do not last forever. Challenges that feel overwhelming today will become lessons in the future. Looking back, many of the hardest moments in life often turn out to be the most important in terms of personal growth. In the middle of a struggle, it is easy to believe that things will never improve. But those who continue speaking strength into their minds push through and emerge stronger. Another key to reinforcing resilience through self-talk is focusing on progress rather than perfection. Many people become discouraged because they expect instant results. When they do not see immediate success, they assume they are failing. However, success is built through small, consistent steps. Speaking in a way that acknowledges progress, no matter how small, builds momentum. Saying, "I am improving every day," rather than "I am not where I want to be," keeps the mind focused on forward movement. Recognizing and celebrating progress fuels motivation and reinforces the belief that growth is always happening. The words spoken internally determine whether struggles make or break a person. Those who consistently remind themselves of their strength, resilience, and ability to overcome difficulties develop a mindset that allows them to keep going even when things seem impossible. Training the mind to respond with encouragement instead of doubt builds unshakable confidence. Every challenge becomes a test of endurance, and those who speak to themselves with determination and belief rise above their circumstances. Shaping inner dialogue to reflect strength rather than fear is the foundation of long-term success. The way a person speaks to themselves creates the foundation for their mindset, actions, and overall direction in life. Every word carries weight, shaping beliefs, emotions, and the level of confidence brought into daily experiences. Repeating powerful and intentional words builds an internal environment where self-belief, resilience, and determination flourish. Many people unknowingly reinforce negative patterns by speaking to themselves in ways that create doubt, fear, and hesitation. The mind listens to the words spoken repeatedly, absorbing them as truth. Choosing to consistently affirm strength, capability, and success reshapes thoughts, habits, and reality itself. Speaking with conviction establishes a deep sense of belief in one's abilities. When a person affirms their confidence, intelligence, and strength, they begin to act in alignment with those qualities. The brain operates based on the instructions it receives. If the mind is told, "I always struggle," it will find ways to make that belief true. If it is told, "I figure things out and grow stronger every day," it will start seeking opportunities for learning and improvement. The power of words extends beyond motivation. It programs the subconscious mind to work toward what is consistently spoken. Repeating empowering phrases with intensity and belief reinforces an unshakable mindset. Repetition is key to embedding new beliefs. Just as a muscle is strengthened through repeated exercise, the mind is trained through consistent self. In the beginning, affirmations of strength may feel unnatural, especially if past experiences have created deep-rooted doubt. However, the more these words are spoken with intent, the more they take root and influence actions. It is not about saying empty words, but about attaching real emotion and conviction to them. Speaking with power, saying phrases like, "I am disciplined," "I am in control of my future," and "I refuse to quit," instills a sense of responsibility and action. The more these affirmations are repeated, the more they become part of one's identity. Speaking with confidence also means eliminating language that weakens self-belief. Many people unknowingly sabotage themselves by using words that create uncertainty. Saying, "I hope I can do this," or "I will try my best," leaves room for hesitation. Instead, saying, "I will do this," or "I am fully capable," create certainty. The way challenges are approached depends on the words spoken internally. When spoken with power, words reinforce the belief that success is not a matter of luck, but of persistence and determination. The words chosen shape perception, and perception influences actions. The way a person speaks to themselves affects how they are perceived by others. Confidence is not just an internal state. It is reflected in body language, decisions, and interactions. Those who speak to themselves with conviction carry themselves differently. They move with purpose, make firm decisions, and face challenges with a sense of control. On the other hand, those who constantly doubt themselves project uncertainty, which affects how they are treated in personal and professional settings. By consistently affirming strength and capability, confidence is naturally expressed outwardly, creating a presence that commands respect. Speaking powerfully to oneself does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending that challenges do not exist. It means reinforcing the mindset needed to navigate obstacles with determination. Life presents unexpected struggles, but the way they are handled is determined by internal dialogue. In moments of hardship, saying, "I have overcome before," and "I will overcome again," shifts the focus from defeat to resilience. In times of uncertainty, saying, "I trust in my ability to adapt and figure things out," keeps the mind solution-oriented. Words create an internal foundation that influences responses to every situation. Mastering self-talk is a daily practice. It requires not only speaking positive words, but also ensuring that actions align with them. When affirmations are paired with effort, growth is inevitable. Speaking with belief, reinforcing strengths, and eliminating words that create doubt builds an unstoppable mindset. The results may not appear overnight, but with consistency, the mind adapts, confidence strengthens, and success follows. Every great achievement starts with the decision to believe. And that belief is cultivated through words spoken with power and conviction